Hello everybody, and welcome to PC Tech Spec, and today we're going to be talking about playing on those old computers like your mom and pop computers. And now I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. I'm talking about the parts where there were just dual cores, usually 2 or 4 gigabytes of RAM, probably DDR2, either integrated GPUs or they were very weak dedicated GPUs. And the system we're going to be looking at today is an Athlon 64X2 5200 Plus, and that is a simple dual core running at 2.7 gigahertz. It is sporting an HD 3450, which is a very weak dedicated GPU, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and a 250 gigabyte hard drive. Now this system is very weak, but it's a system that I played on when I was a kid. We played simple games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, Zoo Tycoon, Polar Bowler. I don't know if you've heard of any of those games, but they're very simple, very casual games, and they were not resource demanding at all, and the resolution was very low, like 1600 by 900, but that was pretty much the standard back in the day, if not 720, which is probably very common back in that time. But we're going to look at what some common games are doing to this computer. Some of you might question why I put them in this video, and some of you might be like, okay, I can understand. Well, you got to think that this computer is not strong at all. The graphics card doesn't even score 1% on user benchmark graphic rating, so this is super weak. And this is definitely what you would find in your old parents' computer that's lying around, or maybe you'll find it in your grandma's house or something. I don't know. But these systems are not made to run games today at all. Maybe back in the day they were able to, but definitely not now. But that's the fun part. I want to test out some stuff and see how far it goes. Before we start showing you the footage, I want to tell you guys that I had to record with the camera on screen because this computer is a dual core and only has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it would not support any recording software because it's just such a weak computer and it cannot handle any extra load than the game itself. I also would like to mention, before we start showing you the footage, we were recording all of these at 1080p but on the lowest graphical settings, so these games will probably look awful, but I want to make sure that the modern resolution is what's represented here with these computers. First things first is Killing Floor, and this game ran quite well, even though it was on the lowest setting and things looked very muddy texture-wise, but it got it solid around 30 FPS, maybe a little lower in the action. When the action started picking up, the frames would drop down and a possible stutter would happen, and that's possible either due to the VRAM overloading or the actual RAM, because 2 is not much at all, especially when it comes to running Windows and games at the exact same time. We got some problems there, but otherwise it was running quite smoothly. It was actually kind of enjoyable to play, even though it was at just around a 30. But I've played 30 my entire life when I had crappy laptops to play games. But my laptops were better than this system, unfortunately to say. But hey, this one actually held up quite well. And yeah, this is probably one of the nicer ones when it comes to a first-person shooter of all that we've recorded. Next up is Spooky's House of Jump Scares, and I just thought that this game would be an interesting test because of the fact that it's actually not very resource demanding. It was made in GameMaker, and GameMaker, if your games are lagging when you're making GameMaker games, you should probably just redo the whole project, because GameMaker is such a simple engine. I'm actually using it now. I'm taking gaming classes, and how it works is very simple. It should not be resource demanding unless you've got a crap ton of high-res textures, but this game has nice, simple textures, and it makes it look good. But I wanted to point out to you that in certain parts of the video that I recorded, there were some stutters where it would go from that nice solid 60 that it would achieve down to like a 45. It was just a quick dip and it would go right back up. Don't know what it was from, probably due to the VRAM or the RAM, but it happened infrequently, and usually when you were going into darker areas, it would happen to do that. I'm not sure. We just got short footage because we just wanted to put it in there for the heck of it. But yeah, I hope you can appreciate the fact that it can run a simple horror game. Next up is one of my favorites, Double Action Boogaloo. Now this game did not run very well in terms of a fast-paced third-person shooter. It got anywhere from 20 to 30 some FPS. This is all in the lowest setting. And this is kind of surprising because Valve has a very nice source engine. And what the source engine provides is very simple graphics that look good from the outside. And in their first-person games, they have first-person textures that look good, but all the third-person ones are not. And that's okay because that allows a lot of systems to run their games better. But somehow this system still managed to chug its way along to this one. Lowest settings, lowest possible settings. And even still, the low FPS, it was still quite enjoyable to play, but you had to kind of like give it some credit because of how laggy it was. Next up is League of Legends on the lowest setting, and this was actually not too bad. You think League would provide you a crap ton of FPS no matter what system you run it on, but it has to be from the graphics card at a rating less than 1% on user benchmark. That is astonishing how low that is, and that probably hurt this, but it got anywhere from 30 to 50 some FPS, and usually when it was lower is when it was near a tower that was being broken, and I wasn't quite sure why, but I'll try to put some little clips in there that shows me approaching the tower, and it would start to slow down and stutter a little bit. Maybe it's the extra textures falling from the tower that were causing the game to lag significantly. I'm not too sure what it was, but hopefully you can see how well this system actually did run this game, but you do want to have a lot better performance, so putting any better graphics card into this game would be suitable instead of having this very low percentage if you're going to do this to your parents' computer. Last one up is Unturned, and this was awful. The load times were 2 to 3 minutes to get the game just to start up, and the main menu had 7 FPS. The actual game has anywhere between 7 and 9 FPS. Unturned is honestly starting to get a little too big because people said it was baby's first DayZ, but now I think DayZ is going to start running better than this game. Even on the lowest setting, I dropped all the settings possible, but keeping it at 1080p, it still was chugging along so hard. And I know what you guys might say or think to yourselves in the comments is that, well, maybe it shouldn't be running at 1080p. And maybe it shouldn't. But like I said, I wanted to put it to the test on a modern resolution that most folks are going to be running. And so these were our results. So if you want to go check out your parents' computers and try this out, go ahead. I actually put a small overclock on the graphics card, which is kind of surprising. I think I was able to overclock the memory on the graphics card to 25 megahertz, but anything over than that, it would cause a blue screen of death. So that was kind of unfortunate. This graphics card is not powerful at all. This graphics card had a 600 megahertz clock, which is absolutely awful. I would not recommend you go out and buy it. I'd rather you buy any sort of GT instead of the HD series, because the GT 600 or whatever would perform much better than this card. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you did enjoy it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you at my next video. Bye bye.